quite the amazing, and that's how I got that stain now. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Your Manchester with me, Miss Belinda Scandal.
And me, Mr. Mark Llewellyn.
Have you had a good week?
A fantastic week. Very busy, but I've been down at Weatherfield quite a lot.
You have, haven't you?
Yes.
We'll go into that in a minute, but also, let's just tell me what's on the show today. Go.
Carl Austin Behan, friend of the show, is on. We're talking to Sam Pope about a fantastic concert. We're in Rochdale, we're in Blackpool, and we are also everywhere.
We are, a bit like what you've been. Now, we wanted to touch on this. We really, really did, because it's so very important to do this on our programme, because, you know, it's seen by a few people these days.
It certainly is.
And we wanted to touch on it, because you had a lovely day out on Saturday, I do believe.
Yes.
With a legend.
Yes, well, I mean, one of my friends, Julie Goodyear, as you know, who's made the papers this week. Everybody knows that she has Alzheimer's, and she's been leading a push, really, for raising awareness, and her husband, Scott, has spoken about that in the press last week, to highlight, really, for carers as well as those who have dementia or Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
Yeah, in fact, we've got a little bit of a
VT.
VT, haven't we?
Yeah, let's have a look at this.
I'm here to remember a friend, sister, auntie, and loving wife. My mum, Anna. What a woman. Mum first died on the 12th of May 2019 when she couldn't work out how to prepare a legendary roast anymore. The glue of our friendship group. Mum died again and she became convinced her friends were trying to steal from her. The style icon of the Covington estate. Mum died as a fashionista. The day she couldn't get dressed into her colourful outfits. Some of the outfits we'll all be glad to see the back of. She died as the Queen of Christmas when she refused to have dinner with the family. She died again when she asked me, her son, what my name was. She died as Dad's rock after 52 years of marriage. The day she looked straight through him. On the 10th of March, 2024, Mum died the final time, surrounded by her family.
With dementia, you don't just die once. You die again and again and again.
We love you, Mum.
Which is why at Alzheimer's Society, we'll be with you. Again and again and again.
I mean, just a very, very poignant advert. I mean, it's on the TV at the moment. I think people would find it difficult to not watch that and be fully appreciative of it.
Yes, it's very moving, isn't it? I think it's always a difficult thing with hard-hitting commercials like that. But it is a very important message. I mean, we've been sent some fact sheets here from the Alzheimer's Society. So they're talking here, dementia is a whole group of symptoms. So Alzheimer's is one of the...
What is Alzheimer's versus dementia then? What is the relationship to each other?
Well, so dementia really is, as I say, these different symptoms.
Right.
Alzheimer's is one of the names for one of the symptoms.
Okay.
So people start to have memory loss, difficulty making kind of decisions and planning decisions. We've got problems with language, being confused about times, places, arrangements, things like that. Seeing things differently, and also mood changes.
And I think it's one of those difficult illnesses because you're not really able to self-diagnose it yourself, are you? It's kind of others that will notice first of all, I suppose, the changes in you.
I suppose we all know people that have said, "Oh, I'm beginning to forget things."
Yeah.
But whether it is actually dementia or just life, isn't it, at age?
Well, is it just down to age? Is it just the older people that can deal with this, that have this?
No, I think if you're over 65, you're more likely.
Right.
And also there are different lifestyle things like smokers, people who drink, don't get exercise, things like that, I think can contribute. But no, you can get these symptoms at any age.
So how do you diagnose it then? With illnesses, perhaps you're not feeling too good. Do you go into a doctor?
Well, yes, you do go to a doctor, and they can refer you so that you can have tests. And then obviously it's important, if you've got somebody in your life, somebody who's going to be a carer, that the two of you then, I guess, get information and get guidance. And the Alzheimer's Society, who've put this ad out and given us the information today, have lots of really useful information on their website.
Okay.
It's a very, very good website.
What about if you've got it, and if you think somebody's got it, but they are kind of fighting against admitting it? I mean, what can you do about that?
Well, ultimately, it's medical advice, isn't it?
Right.
So it is actually getting that person to seek advice. I know I've got a couple of people who've got partners who've got dementia, varying stages. And in one of those cases, the person who has it didn't want to seek advice.
Right.
So that becomes a bit of a difficulty.
Yeah.
They actually went along to a social event that was for people but with dementia or potentially with dementia. And they kind of sought advice in a much more low-key, less medical situation, I guess. And that was how they found out.
So the Alzheimer's Society, they're on hand all the time?
Yep. If you go on the website, there's phone numbers to ring, there's fact sheets to download, there's lots and lots of advice for both somebody who thinks they may have dementia and also people who are caring for people with dementia.
Of course, we were talking about Alzheimer's there, and we were thinking that we would rerun our lovely, lovely ladies interview. So perhaps if you want to introduce that.
So Julie Goodyear's been a friend of the show, hasn't she, over the years? We've done a lot of features. And a few years ago, she gave us a very exclusive interview, which we did at her home. And as it's proven, that will be the last interview that she grants.
Well, here we are then, everybody. Here's a fabulous interview that we played last year, year before?
I think it was the year before, actually.
Well, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Here's the highlights from a lovely interview that we did with the lovely and fabulous Miss Julie Goodyear.
So before you went into acting, you did a few things, didn't you? You were a model. You did hand modelling.
Just hands and feet.
Yeah.
Because my hands are very small.
Yeah.
And I'm only size 4 feet. So I was actually earning more money than the very tall models.
And you also did quite a bit of singing, didn't you? I know you were in sort of talent competitions and then you appeared at local clubs.
I think it was at the Carlton. I think I was singing Blue Moon and somebody threw a meat pie at me. So I picked it up and ate it because I was hungry.
Didn't go to waste.
No, I don't like anything going to waste. Ever.
So we're in your office now, surrounded by dozens of pictures.
One day, she said to me, after this scene, you come straight to my dressing room. I said, OK, thank you, Miss Speed. I went and phoned my mother up, told her. She said, what have you done now? I said, I don't know. I don't think I've done anything. Ring me back and let me know, my mother said. Went there, went, come in. I was shaking like that. I went in. Sit down. I said, what is it, Miss Speed? I've decided you may call me Doris. Now get out. I phoned my mum back and I told her what had happened and she said, I don't think you should. Don't. But she insisted I did.
Above Doris is a picture of you and Tony Warren. And Tony was a close friend, wasn't he?
Very close. Yeah. He was a wonderful gay man.
You used to fly a plane.
I did fly a plane, Manchester.
Manchester, they used to let you go up on the cockpit and take over, didn't they, on the commercial flights?
Oh yeah, for landing. Yes, they did. I couldn't do it now. It's all gone those days. But happy memories are wonderful to keep. They really are.
But I think there's a story, isn't there? When you were in the show in early days, you were going into Manchester, waiting at the bus stop, and a friend of your dad's, of Bill's, was passing in a cement mixer and offered you a lift into Granada. You parked outside the studios in the cement mixer, and Pat Phoenix pulled up in a Rolls Royce. Do you remember?
I do, yes.
And she gave you a warning, which was never upstage me ever again.
Ever again. She did, yes. Yeah.
And do you think you learnt a lot from Pat? Because she was kind of Manchester Hollywood, wasn't
Yes.
she?
Yes, I did learn from plenty of people there. Yep, it did me good. Yeah.
And I think you took every opportunity to watch other people working, didn't you? Like Pat and like the three old ladies.
Oh, yes.
So looking around the office then, we've got pictures of you at the Palace. We've got you on a camel. I don't know why. You also had to ride an elephant in India, I believe, for a television programme. How did that go?
Well, it wasn't easy. I had to climb up its tail and it shit on me.
So you've got pictures from the show, you've got pictures from other things that you did. I mean, you appeared in so many papers, on so many magazine covers over the years, didn't you? I mean, so wherever you go, you can't hide.
No, but when I went shopping, I never got my shopping. I had to just sign autographs. So I didn't get anything.
Well, that's what I mean. Everywhere you've gone for your entire life, everybody's known who you are and wanted to talk to you, haven't they?
They just wanted autographs. You know, so I went home with no shopping.
So you've had a lot of gay men in your life.
Not a lot. Not as many as I would have liked.
Well, you've always found the gay community have been your loyalist supporters, haven't they?
Oh, fantastic.
Do you realise the impact that you've had on people's lives?
Not really. No, I don't. It's just a wonderful thing. And I enjoyed every minute of what I was doing.
You were
Yeah.
brought up in a pub, weren't you, in the Bay Horse?
The Bay Horse Hotel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you went into the Rovers, you kind of knew it was home ground in a way, wasn't it?
It did help, yeah.
Because I think that's one of the things that most people say is when you watch you and Roy as Bet and Alec behind the bar, you felt like a real couple, but the pub felt real, probably one of the strongest times in the street. It felt like a real pub, but you went to great lengths to make sure everything was right, didn't you?
I certainly did.
So you loved working with Roy, didn't you?
Of course. Of course we did. Yep.
And I think, like a couple, you also tried to make each other laugh, didn't you? There's one scene that never made it on air.
Well, it was a bed scene. And he had a nightie on and I had pyjamas on. And we hadn't been in the bed for very long. 5 seconds, we were told. All I could hear was... and it was a vibrator. It got under the covers. So I thought, right, okay. And I mean, all the crew, everybody was in hysterics.
Yeah.
So I pressed my pyjama top and it played The Only Way Is Up. Well, that made them worse. We were threatened with the sack. I wish we could have still seen it.
But was that the thing, really? You both knew what you were going to do, you knew your characters, you would rehearse together, you knew your lines, and then that kind of allowed you a bit of freedom to do your own thing, and that's really why it worked, because it had that extra layer to it.
Well, it did, but, you know, it wasn't in the script,
No.
was it?
So that's Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs,
Oh,
with the
they-
Wicked Queen.
Yeah, they were lovely. And I was asked to go on a stage when all the audience was there and tell them that these were little people of restricted growth. And Kenny Baker, one of the dwarfs,
Yeah.
shouted from the front, "We're f***ing dwarfs, you daft twats!" And it threw me completely. I didn't know what to do then. But the audience were in hysterics. And that means a lot to me. Yeah.
We had a lovely day doing that, didn't we? Do you remember driving into Julie's
Yeah.
driveway?
Wasn't it
and
lovely? The Coronation Street theme played.
Because
and the
you
gates
insisted.
opened, and they were all leopard print gates, and that's my story, and that's what I'm sticking with, Flower. That is what is happening, most definitely. Not too far from our next destination.
Well, in fact, the last time I was at our last destination was for the ceremony for Julie being made free person of the borough of Rochdale, and it took place where our Izzy has been.
Let's have a look at this.
Here in the heart of Rochdale, the town hall has been well known for its unique and detailed architecture since the 18th century. But thanks to new funding, the Grade 1 listed building has been transformed into a space that was only used for private events into a tourist attraction. A grant of £8.9 million from the National Lottery Heritage Fund was recently provided to help renovate huge parts of the building. This will provide the public with bookable tours and new spaces for exhibitions. The aim is to showcase the unique culture of Rochdale, past, present and future.
I love the folk of Rochdale, and I got really interested behind the story of the town hall and how it came together, and there's a story all the way through it about how resilient Rochdale people are, and they are resilient and they're friendly people, and there's such a good story in the town hall. So this building now, originally this was built 153 years ago, and it was for business, for council matters and for the public. Now it's just the public. So this building has come back to the Rochdale folk, where it was used years ago. It was taken over, these historic rooms, by council meetings, boring council meetings. Now you actually get to walk in the newly restored historic rooms, and there's no council meetings, there's none of that boring stuff. It's all exciting stories of people of Rochdale, and it's only used for public events. And you can work your way around all these historic rooms, go up the grand staircase, look at the amazing stained glass windows, go in the Great Hall, and you'd just be absolutely amazed.
The team have spent the past 4 years working on these renovations, with 500 volunteers and conservation specialists.
We first decided that we wanted to do something with the town hall about 20 or 30 years ago, and everything came to a head in 2016 to 18 when we started to put together a lottery bid. Our first bid was unsuccessful, and then we got a successful bid in our subsequent bids, and well, the rest is history, as they say. The town hall itself opened in 1871. From then, major incidents that happened were the tower set fire, and it was replaced. The wooden tower was then replaced by the stone tower that we have now. From then, obviously there was maintenance, but there wasn't anything that went on that was majorly spectacular in the building. So when we came to restoring it, some of the parts of it had been quite majorly changed to make the building useful for offices. In the 1970s, a lot of mezzanine floors were put in and partitions to get office space and so on. That was what they considered to be modernising at the time. So when we came to do the renovation, we basically ripped all that out. So we were ripping it back to the original building as it was intended to be in 1871. The contractors came in, and they obviously had a programme of work to do. That work also involved our volunteers that did cleaning, that did restoration, that did cataloguing, all sorts of things that were part of the project. Back in 1871, this was quite an innovative building because it included the fire station, the police station, the magistrates' court and the council offices. So if you like, we talk about hubs these days. This was a hub, and slowly but surely it became devolved to other places, so the fire station moved to another site, etc. And this became more of an administrative place than a public place. So what we're aiming to do is to bring it back to being a public place, a community space, a space where people can come in when they want to have a look round. So it's a beautiful building to start with. We also have a community space, which is the Bright Hall, which community groups can use. There's a small charge, but it's a significantly lower charge for community groups. But they can use that space to gather together. It's a space that previously had a mezzanine floor and was offices, but now it's a beautiful open space for people to use.
But these new additions to the building are just the beginning of what's to come. The town hall is also expanding into the world of food and drink.
The Martlet restaurant will be opening in May. It'll be open lunchtimes, afternoons and evenings. It'll be different offers at different times of the day. People will be able to come in and just grab lunch, or if they want an evening meal with a bit of difference, that will also be available later on in the day. It's a real treat to be eating food of such high quality.
From the art, the history to the hospitality, it's expected that the town hall will now expand Rochdale's community even wider.
We hear so many negative stories, and there's so much more in Rochdale than those negative stories, and this is a great place to start. So come in here and find out how we contributed into the world of cotton and wool and flannel, how we had an impact on slavery, how we had women's rights. There is so much in Rochdale to enjoy, and I hope that this helps people to understand there's more to Rochdale people. They're friendly, helpful people. It's not all about bad news, there's so much great news, and I hope this town hall brings more people into Rochdale. There's more buildings round Rochdale, there's other facilities round Rochdale. People of Rochdale have got their town hall back for themselves.
Blinking Rochdale!
I know.
Doesn't it look nice,
It's
though?
gorgeous.
It's there now. It's there now for the scones and the people and the niceness.
Shall we go and have a scone?
I fancy a scone, I do. Or a stick of rock.
Oh,
Where could we get
Wow.
a stick of rock, please, Mr. Marlowe Ellen?
we could go off to the coast and go to Blackpool, couldn't we?
We could. Now, check out this first view. Yeah, I've got to say,
What?
you did a lovely piece, and we had this lovely
Yeah.
piece all sorted and very, very excited.
Yes.
And then I decided to insert at the very beginning something quite spectacular, a little bit of me.
Well, it wouldn't be you without inserting something spectacular.
City of 1,000 dreams.
Where you see behavioral extremes.
See the roller coaster gleam.
Listen to the children as they scream.
Today I am in a breezy but sunny Blackpool on a Sunday morning and looking into some of the resort's entertainment history.
Now, right in front of the tower is the comedy carpet with lots of catchphrases and names of comedians and comedians who have appeared here over the years. I'm very honoured that my own late partner Roy Barraclough is commemorated here, along with his comedy partner Les Dawson. In Blackpool, it's called Showtown, and it's puts a spotlight really on the entertainment of the town. Of course, huge stars have appeared here over the years. Also the illuminations, the circus, and all the rest of it. Basically, it's a huge amount of fun. Come along. So for me, the Showtown exhibition has been fabulous. Roy, my partner, switched on the Blackpool illuminations with Julie Goodyear, appeared at the Grand Theatre many times and so on, and of course filmed Coronation Street here as well. I really enjoyed the exhibition. There's lots of interactive elements to it, which is great fun for children or for groups. The ticket that you buy actually lasts you for the year, so you can come back over and over again. They have lots of events here. It's brand new, it looks great, and I think it's worth a visit.
Blackpool's place in our entertainment history is beyond question. So many people became stars here, got their first chance here, and became heroes to those people that came to Blackpool for their annual summer holiday. For me, it's always a bit of a poignant place. Roy and Les performed here many, many times and are probably ingrained in the resort's history. But it was 31 years ago this June, Roy was appearing in the musical version of Sherlock Holmes at the Grand Theatre here. Les and his wife Tracy came to see it, and Roy, free of a Coronation Street contract, was able to revive their double act, Sissy and Ada, the two gossiping housewives based on Rochdalian Norman Evans' act Over the Garden Wall. So they had negotiated a deal to bring Sissy and Ada back in their own show for ITV. Les came to see Roy on stage at the Grand Theatre. He said that they would meet up later in the week. The next morning, Les was off to Manchester for a hospital appointment. So they agreed to have lunch the following day. Sissy and Ada would be revived. Unfortunately, that medical appointment, Les died. And Roy was driving to the Grand Theatre that night for the evening performance of Sherlock Holmes when he heard the news on the radio. The press were waiting. He carried on with that night's performance. Their friendship, 30 years plus, and the double act Sissy and Ada was over. So it's always a poignant trip here for me to remember Roy and Les, but I'm thrilled that they are still commemorated in Blackpool in a whole number of ways. Les's statue at Lytham, Roy commemorated in the Grand Theatre, they're now in the Comedy Carpet, and Blackpool has this new museum. So I say 3 cheers for Blackpool. And don't have the shish kebabs.
Well, indeed, just like our show, every evening is a very enchanted evening, and one gentleman that's bringing us yet another fantastic enchanted evening is Mr. Sam Pope. Welcome to the show.
Hello, how you doing?
I'm very good. Now, what is this you're bringing us at the Stoller Hall, please? I'm very excited.
We are bringing you. So I'm from the newly formed English Musical Theatre Orchestra. We're a brand new professional orchestra with our focus on the wonderful scores from the world of musical theatre. And Some Enchanted Evening is our very first premiere performance at the Stoller Hall on the 25th of May.
Fantastic. So what can we expect to hear?
This performance, as you may gather from Some Enchanted Evening being the title, is very much focused on that golden age of musical theatre in Broadway. So we've got lots of Rodgers and Hammerstein, we've got Oklahoma, songs from Oklahoma, Cell, Showboat, King and I, we've got some Lerner and Lowe, My Fair Lady, songs from Brigadoon, we've got bits from Sound of Music, we've got bits from West Side Story, and even Annie Get Your Gun. We've got lots, we've got 26-piece orchestra playing these beautiful arrangements as they were originally written, and that was the whole point of this. That was the whole concept of why we started this. We wanted to be able to put these scores on as they were always written all those years ago. And we've got 2 wonderful singers, Roy Locke and Lisa Jane Kelsey, and that's what we're going to bring to you.
Well, it sounds good, doesn't it? I mean, you talk about this beautiful music. It summons up so many memories, proper our stuff. Very much our stuff. We like this one very, very much. So you're bringing some singers in there as well then, and you say that you're going to be bringing it as it was intended to be. Does that mean it's changed a lot then, and it's had different incarnations over the years?
Yeah, and sort of modern productions have lots of challenges, and sometimes that can come down to budget, sometimes that can come down to space in theatre. And these arrangements were all written for quite a big band. They're written for a 26-piece orchestra, which you just don't often get in a pit these days, you know, whether it's budget restrictions, whether it's space, whether it's any other issues. Quite often bands are reduced down, or, you know, strings are put on keyboards, or any manner of other things. And we wanted to, all these years, Greg and I, my co-producer, we met on a show that we were touring a few years ago. And we spent a lot of time in the car, as you do, talking about shows that we love and shows that we wanted to play. And a lot of these shows came up in conversation. We both had a deep love for this era of show. And alongside that, we had conversations about how, you know, those original scores were so bigly written. They were written for fans, you know, and we're sort of a little bit sad that we might never do them in that way, might never hear them as they were written. So we thought, well, why not do it? Let's do it. Let's put an orchestra on stage and let's hear them as they were originally written for 26 players.
Fantastic. So you're going to have these lovely lush orchestrations, and you're at the Stoller Hall, which is a lovely venue. So how can people get tickets?
Tickets, you can get tickets on Stoller Hall's website, or you can go, if you go through Manchester Theatres, you may find a discount.
Oh,
I like the word discount. It sounds very, very good to have a bit of a discount, doesn't it? 26. I think the most I've ever seen is, and I might be wrong on this, it was either Sunset Boulevard or it was either Phantom of the Opera. They had a massive orchestra, and it just gives you that whole
There's
lush,
nothing like it, is there?
No, it gives you a lush, velvety sound, doesn't it? That sometimes you are missing from a lot of different sort of orchestras.
Yeah.
Look forward to this one. Like we say, it's on the 25th of May. 7:30 at the Stoller Hall, and tickets range from, well, there's a whole range of ticket
Take your
prices.
pick.
Take your pick, basically. A celebration of Golden Age show tunes. Sam Pope, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
There's a lot of press just got out over the last couple of days about our lovely village.
Yes.
The gay village within
Yes.
Manchester, Canal Street, Bloom Street, Richmond Street, all this.
Yes.
And apparently it's getting a revamp.
Well, yes, they're talking about it, aren't they?
Yes. Now, whenever we come to situations like this, there's one person we need to speak to, and that's our Carl Austin Behan. Welcome to the show, Carl.
Hi, good evening, Carl.
Very.
Oh.
So what is it that's proposed? What's the idea? And why does it need it?
So, if for those of us who are old enough to understand, are you still there?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So, yeah. So, for those who remember, back in sort of 2017-18, there was some work that was proposed as a start of this regeneration framework, and it talked about the actual heritage of the area itself. And it seemed to be that there's quite a lot of things that were sort of missing. And it also talked about buildings being demolished. It talked about buildings being built. And I think it was a bit of a bonkers report that was done back then, because they also used a team down in London, and they didn't even mention the gay village. They talked about Portland Base and Portland Street, sorry. And so what happened was then the council then started to look at this, because we had meetings with Sir Richard Lees, who was leader of the council at the time. And basically, this work now that has come out for this report is stuff that can be implemented, and also stuff that sort of supports the village. When we're looking at sort of the history of the village, when we're looking at the infrastructure of the village, when sort of looking at sort of some of even the sort of easy wins when it comes to the neighbourhood management plan, replacing trees along Canal Street, so you know half of the tree, well, quite a few of the trees are damaged, and also the lights that run in were damaged. And ensuring that residents and people that use the village feel safe, and feel that it's making sure that there's an identity there for people to realise what the village is about.
And who's going to be funding this then?
This is being done, and this Manchester City Council are committing themselves to do this work, because I think that, you know, plus they'll also bring other people on, like United Utilities, I think, are going to get involved, and also Canal and Waterways. So anyone who's got sort of a connection with the village in that way, they'll be looking at other people to go out and support them and to fund them in some ways. Some of the work that they're also talking about at the moment, as I said, mentioned before, about replacement of some of the damaged trees, convene the neighbourhood plan that we've been put up, exploring a location of having a community hub in the village. I know we spoke about that for quite a while. I know they're looking at 103 Princess Street, that could be a possibility. Working groups will be brought together, and also one of the things that I know a lot of the venues are really keen with, which does get a mention, is looking at the pedestrian safe streets, and also looking at making some areas where people can be outside and pedestrianising it to make it better for people. So, you know, that is a longer bit of work, because it's got to be done with Transport for Greater Manchester and also highways. But at least the thing is, I really welcome the report. I when I first saw the draft, I was a bit like, okay. And then they've come back with even more. It's 43 pages. And actually, I really welcome it. And I know that other people who've seen it like what they see. The fact that it's doable. What I will say is a lot of things in the report are actually doable and can be, you know, I think it will enhance the village. And what I will do is I'll send you a digital copy. So if you want to send that in the link, you can do that as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So is this a consultation, Carl, or is it kind of a set plan now?
No, consultation. This is what their vision is, and now it's a case of putting their vision to a consultation, so that obviously that people can then make comments and make recommendations. Because I think one thing that people always think when they do these reports, that's it, that's the be all and end all. But it's not. This is very much going to be a live working document. I really welcome the fact that, you know, we had a meeting at church last week when we launched the action plan. Bev, leader of Manchester City Council, Bev Craig, came and launched it herself with the team around her. But in there, you had the venues, you had some of the businesses within the area, you had residents who lived in the local area. So it is very much, I do feel it's very much more a collaborative way of working, and I really welcome the fact that everyone felt that you know, it's something that can be grown into something. And as I say, it's not the document that we got given in 2018 was very much of this is what we're doing, as opposed to this is what our vision is. You know, even making sure that the village feels like the village, making sure that we've got, you know, instigating of a new logo. There's going to be new artwork. And actually thinking about it, I will be coming to you, because one of the things that I'm going to be working on soon is, you know, the village on Sackville Street, right opposite McTucket 4244. We now have permission to paint that. So we're going to do sort of a bit of a crowdfunder, and also get some local artists to come up with the design to be able to do that and to paint that and to sort of make it vibrant and something that is for our community. But we have got permission to do that now. So that's something that we'll on. A bit like when we did Be in the City. I'm going to be doing that with the swimmers on that bridge and get it'll be like a crowdfunder, and then at least people feel that we're part of it as well.
Well, we look forward to that. People will be able to find access to this document, will they? They can find out everything that you've been able to tell us. They can find out for themselves and have a little bit more of a digest into.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll share the link with yourselves, but also it is on the Manchester Council website now. And if you just put up, even if you Google just Manchester Gay Village Action Plan, it'll come up.
Right. Excellent.
Well, I think we can say yes. We don't mind if we have a mural of ourselves. We're all in favour.
I've always wanted to be a tile. I look forward to that. I really do. Carl, thank you so much for your time today, and thank you again for your knowledge. Thank you. Hey, absolutely right up our street. Yeah. Unfortunately, we are out of time now, though.
What?
I know, we are out of time.
Oh my goodness! I know. I demand a recount.
I demand a recount too. But we are out of time. Next week we've got a special interview, though, haven't we? Who have we got on next week?
We have an exclusive with Vicky Entwistle. It's probably best known as. Go on.
Janice!
Yes!
Janice Battersby is going to be on our programme next week. I'm very excited about that. Check out the podcast this week, Sunday, 7 p.m, with our wonderful Steve Stockton. We are excited about that. For now, though, thanks to each and everyone for watching this week's episode of
Your Manchester!